Welcome to this explainer on the psychology of people who struggle to make friends. So, have you ever left, say, a simple 20-minute coffee catch-up feeling like you literally just ran a marathon? Well, today we're going to unpack the deeply misunderstood psychology of why social life feels so incredibly exhausting for some of us. And spoiler alert, it is not a flaw. If socializing feels way heavier and more complicated for you than it seems to for everyone else around you, you're absolutely in the right place. We're diving into some fascinating psychological insights that will completely reframe how we think about human connection. Let's get right into it.
Are you the problem? If you've spent years struggling to build or keep friendships, I bet you've asked yourself this exact question at some point. It's so easy to look around, see other people laughing and forming bonds with zero effort, and just turn the blame inward, right? You've probably convinced yourself that there's just something fundamentally broken about your personality. But what if? What if that perceived flaw is actually a feature?
Well, psychology says no, you are absolutely not the problem. Let's look at how science actually frames this struggle. It turns out having a tiny social circle isn't a sign of social ineptitude at all. Actually, scratch that, it's the exact opposite. It's driven by a complex web of deep self-awareness and sensitivity. There are real, scientifically grounded reasons why your circle is small. And as we dig into the research today, we're going to see that those reasons go so much deeper than most people ever realize. Okay, first up, the authenticity filter, or rejecting the shallow. Think about how many times you've forced a smile during a conversation about, the weather, silently praying it would just end already. Yeah, that's your authenticity filter at work. You would literally rather be alone than spend another second pretending to enjoy the shallow, surface-level interactions that most people just accept as totally normal. For you, being authentic isn't just a preference. It is completely non-negotiable.
This brings us to small talk versus real connection. While extroverts out there are getting completely energized by casual what's-ups and party chatter, your mind is starving for something real. You're looking for connections rooted in ideas, life purpose, and big dreams. Shallow chatter, it just doesn't even register on your radar. You don't just want warm bodies in a room with you. You want people who feel like home. And until you find that, honestly, silence just feels a whole lot safer than pretending to connect.
Plus, your brain notices things instantly. Gossip, manipulation, fake personalities, you spot it all. Because you process social cues on such a profound level, your brain immediately flags hidden agendas or dishonesty. So your circle stays small as a totally natural defense mechanism to protect your peace. It's not that you dislike people, it's just that your cognitive processing alerts you to fake personalities in a split second, and you fiercely value your emotional energy over, keeping up appearances.
Which leads to a familiar question. Do you replay conversations in your head days later? This hyper-awareness naturally bleeds right into overthinking. You know the drill, staring at a simple text message you just sent, endlessly decoding it. Or replaying a basic 5-minute chat from Tuesday on a loop. You relentlessly analyze your tone, exactly what you said, and wonder if you left the right impression. It is incredibly common for highly active minds to constantly worry if they were misunderstood.
But here is the thing. You aren't awkward. You are just highly self-aware. Instead of kicking back and relaxing at a party, your mind is running these complex background algorithms. It's evaluating every tone, every tiny gesture, which creates immense pressure. You're not avoiding friends. Your mind just literally never stops analyzing. This constant evaluation of every single expression makes casual conversations absolutely exhausting. You're not awkward. Your processing dial is just turned all the way up to 10. Psychologists actually have a name for this. It's called social incongruence, which is just a clinical way of saying your baseline personality, humor, or interests don't align with your current environment. If you've spent your whole life feeling slightly out of step with the crowd, it makes total sense that you take a step back. It isn't being antisocial, it's a completely logical reaction to rarely feeling deeply understood by the people around you. You naturally choose a bit of distance over the risk of constant misunderstanding. Now, let's talk about the fear of judgment. Embarrassment, rejection, showing vulnerability. Because deep down, you actually really want to connect. You want to be the funny, confident one. But that immense pressure to appear perfect just makes you freeze up. Fear of negative evaluation is a powerful, incredibly human defense mechanism designed to protect your soft, vulnerable side. You crave that connection, but the fear of letting people see the real you and the terrifying possibility of them rejecting it acts as a massive, very real barrier.
And we have to ask, have you been hurt before? If you're carrying invisible scars from being left out as a kid or betrayed by someone you really trusted, your brain naturally goes into protective mode. some of the most intensely loyal friends out there are the ones who had to learn the hard lessons of betrayal first. When you've been surrounded by people who didn't value you, your brain rewires itself to make absolutely sure that kind of pain never, ever happens again. So the truth is, you are not closed off. You're just careful. You don't hand your trust out freely anymore. And why should you? You observe. You hesitate and pull back a bit before giving anyone VIP access to your life, because you've learned to set an incredibly high bar. You watch how people act, how they treat the waiter, how they talk about others. Taking your time to verify someone's character isn't being cold, it's being smart. Not everyone deserves a place in your world. What clinical psychology finds absolutely fascinating here is a concept called low social dependency. This is relying on internal validation rather than seeking constant external approval. Guys, this isn't isolation. It's a genuine psychological superpower. Instead of needing a whole crowd of people to tell you that you matter, you rely on your own internal compass. You don't need constant applause or likes to know your worth. And having that kind of bulletproof internal validation, that is an incredible asset. Sometimes people see this and get it totally twisted. They look at your fierce independence and mistake it for loneliness. But looking closer, you've actually learned how to entertain yourself. You solve problems alone, rather than compromising who you are just to fit in with the pack. Let's be real, you would way rather sit in a quiet room with your own thoughts, waiting for the right people, than lose yourself completely just to maintain some busy, exhausting social calendar. Speaking of exhausting, do you feel completely drained after an effortless conversation? Ever wonder why a simple 20-minute coffee date makes you want to take a 3-hour nap, while other people can just chat all night long? It is for sure not a lack of stamina. Your nervous system is literally processing way more data than the average person. This exhaustion isn't all in your head. It's deeply rooted in how intensely your biology interacts with your social environment. When you're processing a simple chat, you're taking in tone, body language, context, emotions, the whole shebang. While extroverts are out there gaining energy from the crowd, your brain is doing some serious heavy lifting. You aren't just hearing words. You are translating micro-expressions, you're feeling the underlying emotional currents, you're reading the entire room's context simultaneously. That requires massive processing power, which puts a tremendous cognitive load on your system for even the simplest of small talk. Because of this, your social battery depletes faster, meaning alone time is absolutely essential. It's not just a nice little luxury for you. When your battery drains that fast, stepping into solitude is literally how you reboot your system. It is a fundamental biological requirement to reset your highly sensitive nervous system. It's not a guilty pleasure, okay? It is exactly how you maintain your mental health and stay sane. But there is a huge upside here. The reward? A remarkably rich inner world. All of these traits we've talked about, the overthinking, the depth, the sensitivity, that fierce independence, sure, they might make casual, easy-come, easy-go friendships a bit harder to find, but they guarantee a profound reward. Your mind works differently. You feel deeply, you think deeply, and because of that, you experience life with this incredible vibrancy and awareness that most people just kind of glide right past.
This sets you on the deep connection trajectory. Because you notice the tiny details, think deeply, and feel so intensely, the friendships you do eventually form are incredibly rare. They're meaningful and they are built to last a lifetime. Deep people rarely find their matches instantly, right? It takes time. But when you finally connect with someone who can actually navigate that rich inner world with you, that bond is virtually unbreakable.
I want to leave you with this thought to wrap up our explainer today. Sometimes the people who struggle the most socially end up being the friends everyone wishes they had. So knowing how deeply and intensely you connect, here is a question for you to chew on. Are you ready to stop apologizing for how your brain works and start appreciating the incredibly rare friend you actually are? Your struggles aren't a sign that you're broken. They're the exact same traits that make you an intensely loyal, observant, and profound companion.